Yeah, what's up, people? So, sentiment. It changes just like that. And you gotta be nimble. Dow 20,000, market always goes up, don't have to worry about it, float along, all that shit is bullshit, right? Do you blame me? When the market's being manipulated on the way up, that's what you have to think. But the reason that's all been washed away and all that motion and all that bullshit was all sarcasm. That's why I tell you to come to the chat room. It's hitthebid.com. You have to come to the chat room. What have I been telling you since QID broke 16 and change? Okay, so we had that flash crash, and I should have made $1 million that day, but I didn't, because I had all those naked puts. Okay, so then we had Germany wants to outlaw shorting of this, that, and the other thing. Then we had a bailout. Now, does this look a little bit similar to what we had when they voted on TARP and they outlawed shorting in this country? And what happened after that? The market went down for 9 straight months. Sentiment. Sentiment is fear and panic. I'd like to introduce you to my friends. Fear, panic. They will be joining us on the show later on. When fear and panic come back in, nothing matters. Everybody wants out at all costs. That's why I said get out of the market. When the Dow plunged like that in 20 minutes, I don't give a shit what they were calling it. Fat finger my ass. We're all getting fat fingered right up the ass right now. Okay? Because that day was the clear indication that none of this is real. And I said it that day. I didn't make many videos since that day, but I've been telling you one thing. QID. QID. That's the way you're going to save yourselves. And I've been talking about 16s, the 17s, and yesterday I was telling you guys that the $18 calls at $1.50, the quid are going to 22 before this thing pans out. And then if it breaks 22, we're going to 28, and the QQQ, we're going back to 37. We're going to give back 1 year's momentum in a week and a half. In 2 weeks, we're going to wash away all we made from last July. We are going to the July lows. That would be QQQ 37. That's right. That's right. That's what it is. The Baidu indicator. When that stock went negative and it didn't break 100, that was sign number 1. Sign number... Before that, we had all those China stocks that were high flyers. There's always a sector that are a bunch of high flyer stocks that nobody understands that are going up, like the APWR and the HEAT and the Rhino and all those ENERs and solar. Oh, solar, yeah, solar. It's going to change the world, right? There's always a sector that gets too hyped up. Solar, they can talk about this. When I was 8 years old, I went to Epcot Center, and by now we're supposed to have flying cars and solar-powered houses, and everything's going to be produced by the solar. Solar. Bullshit. There's always a sector that tips you off onto where the market's going, and this time it was the solar energy and the Chinese stocks, and Baidu not going to 100. You know, if Baidu would have kept going up, I'm sure the market would be fine right now. But now we are in a position where I can't tell you to, get short right now because you have missed the entry. The QQQ entry was $16. People were mocking me. People were saying that this is not a good time to be going short. We had that 400-day up rally, and what did I say? Look at the caption underneath the video of the Greek bailout video where I had the guy fucking the girl talking about pigs and animals and sheep fucking. Remember that? I will not buy into this bullshit. I will not buy into this fallacy. The market is broken. All bets are off, and you know what? Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Yesterday, the market and everybody was sitting there in my office, and the crazy thing is, once again, the bottom line is no, I'm not making any money off this. But what I was telling you is I was trading these 100-share lots, 200-share lots, and every short that I took made money. Clear indication. If I can go 5 for 5 day trading on short side, and they all were profitable positions, that's got to mean that the crash is imminent. And that's what happened. That's what's been happening. That's what's been. I base everything on me. Everything revolves around me. And as crazy and as ridiculous as that sounds, no matter what I do, it is going to influence the entire market. Now, here is the question of the day. What will happen now if I add to the QID? I haven't added. These are the same quid that I've owned the whole time. I'm still losing money on them. I need them to go back to 22. I need them to go back to 28 to really actually to make all the money back. So we're 9 points away. I'm not selling. Now, the question is, and you will know the answer if you come to the chat room, will I add to the QID? Will I go shorter? I don't own any Hartford. I don't own any Akamai. I don't own any Broadcom. I don't own any Digital Globe. All I own is QID, and I'm short some puts out to December. Still got about 7 or 8 points cushion on those. So the plan was to get the QID to go up, to match to where the QQQs I have naked puts. I'll make money on those when those expire, and I'll make money on the way on the QID going back to 28. The bottom line is sentiment. Sentiment right now is fear, panic, freaking out. Nobody wants to understand why. And if there were any analysts that were smart, and they're always talking about not to panic. When you hear people saying, this is not the time to sell, that is the time to sell. When they try to convince the majority of us, they're trying to convince the viewing public that everything's all right, that is the time to sell. Because they can't. Their job is not to instill panic. That's my job. That's my job, to tell you what you really should be doing. Long-term investing is dead. All I know is long-term investing is dead. As much as I wanted to believe that the market was going right to 20,000, you knew we would have to have some sort of a correction in the process, right? You knew that, right? That's why Dow 20,000. But here's the thing. We could still get to Dow 20,000. Because once this gets all washed away, the short squeeze will be back on. Don't you think eventually there's going to be a bunch of people that capitulate, then they'll get short, and then we'll start creeping up. Next thing you know, bing, bang, boom, bada boof, we'll start rallying out of nowhere. That's why it's a manipulated game, and you have to just stay with what's working at the time. That's why I tell you got to come to the chat room. Because all I've ever said in the chat room every single day is to be selling. And what I was alluding to in the market yesterday was that guys in my office, when the market started rallying, and I was sitting there all miserable, and they're like, oh no, this is it, we saw the bottom, we're not going to be going down anymore, we're just going to chop around here, and then we're going to take off again. I said, I guarantee you, by the end of the day, we will be hitting lows for the day, and tomorrow we will gap down huge. But it won this. But the takeaway from that is, did you do it? What did you do about it? I didn't do dick. So now the question is, will I add to the QID? And that's it. And that's it. So enjoy yourselves and try to not hold any stocks ever again. That's step number one. Just don't hold anything. Don't hold anything. And that is step number one. Make each day a new clean slate. So that's where we are. All right. Come to the chat room.
I would much prefer Krull.